What's up?
What's up with you?
Oh, it's cold
Oh my
outside.
God, it's so cold outside.
Yeah. But we're gonna carry on. And I'm Candace.
Oh, and I'm Natalia.
And this is not a single fork, just another podcast about food and cooking. But we're keeping it real.
Real. I need to learn that your wall is the same color as my shirt right now, which is also the same color as my hair. So I may just be like a bald floating face to some people. But that's okay. I just won't wear the shirt again. But it was cold and it's soft. And
Yes.
Whatever. I found an article for us to go over. I haven't looked at all of them because there's
Yay.
42
Wow.
cooking basics you should probably know. So I thought, let's see if Candace agrees.
Okay. Yes.
you know.
It's always
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So you want to go through these?
Sure, let's go.
Okay. 42 cooking basics you should probably know by now.
And this is off of BuzzFeed, right?
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very reliable. Yes. Number 1, read your recipe all the way through.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'm and you know what? Here's the thing. I don't love recipes, but only because people treat them like they're set in stone.
Right.
And as long as you use a recipe for a guide and not the gospel, I mean, I think recipes are fine, especially as a jumping off point.
You need a jumping off point for something you're doing for the first time.
Yeah, and here's the thing is if you have never made the recipe before, you need to make sure you have all of the ingredients before you start.
Read your recipe all the way through before starting your prep work. The last thing you want to do is get halfway through and realize you're missing a key ingredient.
Exactly.
Or you accidentally added all of the lemon juice to the pan when you were supposed to reserve some for the sauce.
So read your recipe. I would say read it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
More than once, just so that you're going in with all the information, not just part of it.
Yeah. Make sure your kitchen is properly stocked with the right knife for the task at hand.
Well, yeah. I mean, knives are critical.
Yeah.
Because you can't, if you don't have a big, like a chef's knife, which is one that's about this long, it's like, that's 6-8 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you're talking to a man, it's much
12.
much longer than that. But so you can't do everything with a paring knife, for instance.
Right. So you do need the right tools, but you don't necessarily need the whole tool set.
Right.
I mean, knife set.
Well, you don't need
tool
to.
set.
Yeah, and you decide what size knives you need, but you need a big knife.
You need a paring knife.
You need a paring knife. You need. I like a good tomato knife.
I like a serrated knife.
And then a bread knife is a good thing to have.
I agree.
But then overall, that big knife should take care of a lot of tasks that
I use that all the time. I barely use like a boning knife.
Yeah,
I do have one.
I use a boning knife quite a lot.
I do have one, but I barely use it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. When preparing your ingredients for a recipe, make sure you're actually following the chopping guidelines. If it calls for 1-inch dice, a julienne, or a mince, make sure you know what those words mean.
Well, I do agree with that, but most people have really bad knife skills.
Yeah, but I do think you need to know what they mean. If it says mince and you're just doing like a giant chunk
and you're just throwing it in whole,
you're going to get a different result.
It's going to be bad. But, just try to make it as practical as possible. Because mince, I always describe in class, I say mince is like confetti.
Mm-hmm.
And julienne, that's like a matchstick.
Matchstick.
And then a chop is little cubes.
Mm-hmm.
So make it in language that you understand, but don't get so hung up on, there have to be 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. Don't do that to yourself.
No, but definitely if you're reading a recipe and you don't understand a word, Google it.
Yes.
It would be a good idea.
And there's a lot of cookbooks now that have glossaries.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll tell you
what that
some
means.
kind of reference in the book somewhere that, will tell you what it is.
Number 4, season your food as you go. And when you do, sprinkle your salt from up high. That'll ensure a more even distribution and no salt stuck in a certain area.
Yep. I agree with that completely. Yeah, but people, are still tied to their salt and pepper shakers.
I don't understand that.
Well, and here's another thing: table salt. Well, table salt is gross.
It's gross. Don't use table salt.
But don't use that in your cooking.
No.
It's harsh. It's not intended for that. I don't know what it's intended for.
I do.
Okay.
I know what it's intended for,
Tell me.
and that is our fly gun. It's a gun. It's an assault gun, an assault SALT that you put table salt in because it's round.
Okay.
It's like a Nerf gun, but you put table salt in it and you
Yeah.
shoot flies with it and it kills them.
Really?
Oh yeah, it just doesn't feel good.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. When you shoot it, then does it spray salt everywhere?
Yes,
Well, you can't use it in your house.
I
then,
don't.
can-
I
Oh,
use it
just
outside.
Outside.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
that's what table salt is good for.
Okay.
And it does hurt. And number 5, use the right salt for the right thing.
Oh,
Cook with kosher salt, not table salt, for a more even flavor.
I
And
just said
finish foods from chicken cutlets to chocolate chip cookies with Maldon flake salt.
Ooh, it's delicious.
I need to get some more Maldon sea salt.
that is so. Okay, if you don't know Maldon sea salt, it's
Looks like this.
it's Maldon. It's expensive,
Picture.
but you don't use very much. What are you
I'm
doing?
trying to show them the picture, but it just looks like an avocado.
Because you're using it on an avocado. So you buy it. It comes in a box typically.
You might have to order it.
Yeah, on
depending on-
Amazon,
yeah.
and then and you can get various quantities. But so don't get a pound or 2 pounds of salt. Just get a little container of salt. It comes in a bag. It's in the box. It lasts forever.
It's so good. It's a finishing salt.
Yeah, it's
For sure.
you finish your food with it, and it gives it this not only the salt flavor, but a little crunch.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah,
Mm.
it really is.
Okay, 6. We're going to be here for a long time for on number 6.
Yeah.
We might have to do 2 episodes.
I think we are.
Before you start cooking, prep your ingredients and put them in little containers or glass bowls. This is called
Mise en place.
that way you won't ever forget an ingredient or accidentally add the wrong amount.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of mise en place,
Mhm.
and we teach it in class. And you don't have to go out and buy mise en place bowls. Just whatever you have.
You can use
Whatever.
Tupperware.
Use Tupperware.
I mean, it
use
doesn't matter.
whatever.
Whatever you
use
have.
Use a water glass.
Yeah.
You can use anything.
Number 7, master the one pan dinner and you're basically already a master chef. All you need is a sheet pan plus protein plus veggies plus salt and oil. That's it.
I do love a good sheet pan dinner.
I know you do.
It's versatile. It's easy. It's easy.
It's flavorful.
You have one pan to wash.
Yeah, I do like that.
It's really good.
I made chili the other day because it's cold outside and that's
Yeah.
what everybody does. And I forgot how much I like a one pot dinner because that is just the epitome of a one pot dinner. And like I had just cleaned the house. And usually when I clean the house and clean the kitchen and then I cook, it's like, oh, you've got all these dishes to do. And I try not to use too much, but you still have all these dishes to do.
Yeah.
And then when I got done making chili and I threw everything away and I was like, oh, the kitchen's still clean. Like there's nothing in the kitchen. It was so
because
nice.
I did it all in
One pot.
So it doesn't have to be a sheet pan. It can be, a skillet. It can be a
Yeah.
pot of chili, whatever. But trying to, I wouldn't say limit, but trying to use it frequently in one pan or
Just trying to eliminate all that other
yeah,
stuff.
some kind of
Yeah.
one vessel would be, just
makes
helps
it-
you out.
Yeah, it makes it less stressful, less cleanup. 8, don't shy away from herbs and spices. They make all the difference between meals that are bland and meals that are banging.
Banging.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
Yes.
and it gives you a little breakdown on herbs and spices.
Oh,
It's kind
that's
of fun.
nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. But yes. Oh, yeah. Herbs and spices, so important.
Pro tip, keeping your spices actually organized is the best way to make sure you don't add cumin when you meant to add coriander or cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to
alphabetize
No, you
them.
do not have to alphabetize them.
But like, it's literally showing you just like a bunch of shit thrown in a drawer
Yeah.
or them like standing up so you can see them.
well,
It makes
and-
a difference to
I
be able to
do-
see shit.
Okay, but I like to, in my pantry, I like to separate my spices by kind of like purpose. So all together, like on one little shelf, I'll have cumin, coriander, ancho chili powder,
Like things you use
things
together.
that I would use to make taco seasoning,
And then like your
or
Italian
soup.
shit somewhere else.
Yeah,
and-
it's across the
It's a-
pantry.
Across the pond. Number 10, when zesting a lemon, use a microplane to remove only the top layer of skin and try not to get too much of the white stuff. It's called the pith. You get all the delicate citrusy flavor with none of the bitterness.
Yeah, that's really important. And it's, when you use a microplane, microplanes are so sharp that it's really easy just to barely get the zest
Yeah.
because it's zesting. So you're just getting just the top, the colored part,
That's all you want.
and that's all you want.
Okay, number 11. This is interesting. I don't know. I can't remember. What is this? Things you need to know? Is that what this
Things
article
you
is?
need to know, yeah.
By now?
Yeah.
Perfect the art of the poached egg so you can top every meal with an Instagrammable runny yolk. Not everybody likes a runny yolk. I do. The key is to add a tablespoon of vinegar and keep the boiling water swirling around the egg. Do you think knowing how...
That's too much vinegar.
Okay.
It's a teaspoon per egg. Tablespoon is too much. It will taste vinegary if you put a tablespoon in per egg.
Mm-hmm.
If you put a tablespoon in and you're poaching 3 or 4 eggs, okay. But 1 egg.
What does the
one
vinegar
teaspoon.
do?
Well, the chemical reaction causes or it helps the white to stay around the yolk.
Oh.
So when you swirl it, it'll all
Science.
come together.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
science.
12. The easiest way to peel garlic is to crush each clove with the flat of a knife and then peel it and then chop it.
Yes. Yes, yes, and yes.
Mm-hmm. 13. When making stir fries or cooking in a frying pan, don't add garlic too early. It might burn or brown too much. Toss it in afterwards. These are actually really pretty good.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. And the reason why you don't throw it in early is because when it burns or it gets too brown, it gets bitter.
And there's no coming back from that.
Don't come back from that.
Onions are amazing, but not all created equal. Don't buy sweet onions when you want to use a shallot.
Okay.
Or like a red onion or a yellow onion or a Vidalia onion. And it does make a difference. I mean, yes, like I always go for a red onion or, even...
I like yellow onions as a kind of general rule. I like yellow onions.
Yeah, for all the dishes.
Yeah. But red onions, those are good for sandwiches,
And salads.
And shallots are good in salads.
Mm-hmm. It
and
does
pasta.
make a difference figuring out your onions.
Yeah.
When you're chopping an onion, make 2 horizontal slices before chopping down to keep it all together.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and I see a lot of chefs do that. I don't do it. It doesn't mean it's wrong or right. It's just,
Preference.
it's just, I think it's personal preference.
And use the claw hand technique to protect your fingers from your not quite top chef knife skills.
Yeah.
Craw.
Yeah. Craw.
Claw. It says claw.
I know, but craw.
Okay, put those chopping skills to the test and whip up some caramelized onions to improve any meal. I do agree that everyone should know how to make caramelized onions.
They're delicious.
They really aren't hard. They take some time, and they are delicious, and they add so much.
So much flavor.
So much.
You can just eat them out of the pan.
Yes.
They're so delicious.
Know what kind of pan to use for what meals.
Wait, can I?
Yes, please.
Let me interject first.
Onions.
When you're caramelizing onions, don't salt them too early because salt pulls moisture from anything, and then your onions get wet and they sweat, so it takes twice as long to caramelize them.
So don't salt
until I think you wait till the end to salt and pepper caramelized onions.
Makes sense. Okay, know what kind of pan to use for what meals. Cast iron for things you want to get a nice crust on, and nonstick for things like eggs or pancakes. This is important.
Yeah, I go with that.
It's not important that you have everything, but just know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Don't let the idea of seasoning and cleaning cast iron pans intimidate you. They're one of the most versatile tools in your kitchen. Use them on the stove, pop them in the oven. They're basically indestructible.
They are indestructible.
Really?
And even like if they get rusty, you can clean them up and bring them back.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't use a cast iron. Do you? A lot? I don't.
Not a lot,
but
I do use cast iron.
Yeah. Stop overcrowding your pans. I mean it. The heat won't distribute evenly, and you won't get those lovely caramelized bits.
That's true. Yeah, okay. because what happens is all the food is steaming.
Yum. Delicious.
like
boiled.
Like boiling everything. That was hilarious.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Okay, so if you missed our episode and we may not have played it yet. I don't know what order we're going to do this in, but we interviewed the gal who is our extern, and she was telling us about one of her mother's recipes
for Thanksgiving,
and that she boiled acorn squash.
And then she had to get all the liquid out.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Well,
roast it.
roast it. That's dry
That was really
heat.
funny.
And she was like,
Oh my God, mind blown. Okay, learn how to perfectly cook a steak, including searing it in a hot pan and then basting it with butter and herbs.
oh yeah, that sounds delicious.
Oh,
That
God,
makes
I'm
my mouth
hungry.
water.
Shit. Did you buy some steak for us to snack on?
Nope.
Keep under or overcooking your meat. Keep a cooking temperature guide for reference and invest in a good meat thermometer
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
to check without cutting into your meat. That's how you lose all the good juices. So what I tell people,
Yeah.
you don't have to invest in this. You can take a piece of paper and write down like what the meat temperature needs to be and put that on the inside of a cabinet somewhere. You guys don't have to remember all this shit. You're not doing it day in and day out.
No,
You have so many other things in here.
in your head.
But I do agree with the meat thermometer, and you should not be cutting your meat even on the grill anywhere
No.
to check and see if it's done because it
No,
makes
that's
it
a
dry.
bad choice.
Dry.
all the
dry.
juices pour out.
Don't cut into your meat to check how it is done.
There you go.
You'll lose the juices.
Okay.
Try the meat done hands test. I don't agree with this.
No. You know why? And it's not that it isn't it's not that it can't work. It's that you have to do it every day
Yeah, this
because it's too hard to remember what
Yeah,
you're
that's
supposed
too
to be
much.
doing.
I can't even.
Yeah, I mean it's
Just get a fucking thermometer. And on that note, you need to let your meat rest.
yes.
We say this every night. It helps the juices settle and get reabsorbed so they don't all come running out when you cut it. And you end up with a nice, juicy piece of meat.
yes.
As felt. I don't know what's going on here. Cut your meat against the grain.
Yeah.
It makes the meat easier to chew.
Just in general,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we teach that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we have lots more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we out of time?
I think that's I mean, it's not that we're
Are
out
you
of time.
overwhelmed?
I would
Is this
think
too much for you?
I think people are overwhelmed.
Okay, people, we'll cut it off.
And we'll do a second episode that finishes this up because I want you to be able to to digest it.
Oh my.
So stay fresh.
Steak bags.